Hey everybody, and welcome back to another episode of I'm Apostolic, Not Confused. Today I have my youth leaders, Sister Rachel Flores and Brother Mike Flores, and they're going to be telling us a little bit about their testimony. So let's get started.
I'm Apostolic, Not Confused. Real talk for Apostolic teens with Jayla Dixon.
Cool. So how do you want to kick it off, guys?
I can go first.
You want to start when you fell on your head on the walker?
So I was raised in church since I was 2 years old. There's a long backstory, but my dad was raised Pentecostal Apostolic, and he left church, and then when he met my mom, his first date that he took her on was to a Pentecostal church. And that was many, many years ago before we were even thought of. And my mom was raised Catholic, and but she was always looking for more. And so probably the first few years of my life, my mom was searching for something. And when she came to our previous church before we moved to Roseville, she felt that's something that she was looking for. And so she raised us there. I received the Holy Ghost and was baptized when I was 7. And I was fortunate enough to be raised in church and have that strong foundation. Unfortunately, when I was 17, I decided to rebel, and I thought I knew better, and I left church. I turned my back on God, and
How old were you when you moved out?
I was 19 when I moved out of my parents' home. I got caught because I was living in secret for a while, and drinking and partying, and I thought I had everybody fooled, and then my brother snitched on me, and then my parents said, we love you, we're always going to love you, but if you want to live like that, you can't live like that here. And I was like, all right, I'm out, I can do this. It was the worst mistake one of the worst mistakes of my life. And by leaving my parents' home and leaving the church and leaving God, I subjected myself to a lot of trauma that I didn't need to. Mm-hmm. And I stayed out of church for about 7 years, and I would go for special occasions. Yeah. And I always felt, even in the midst of me doing my own thing, I always thought in the back of my mind, like, God, please don't come back. Don't turn me away the way I've turned you away. Because I know that I'm not living right. But I will say that I never initiated a relationship with God for myself. I was fortunate enough to have received His Spirit and be baptized, but I never sought God out and dug deep for myself as a young person. And so when I did decide to surrender my life and stop doing things I was doing, I was like crawling back.
Yeah.
and I was desperate because I was hurting, and it wasn't anything that God had did, because we have our own free will. But I was crawling back, and I was like struggling, and I couldn't make sense of like certain things in my early adulthood. And so when I was 14, I met this guy. And it was brief, probably seen each other a handful of times, and then he moved away. And is that the doorbell? Sorry, can you edit that out?
Yeah.
Or, it's not. So I met him. We were in contact for a couple months, and then he moved away for 10 years. And we came back into contact while we were both out of church. And then we started our relationship. So I'll let you give your version of your early years before we got married.
Yeah, so mine was kind of so what was your question? It was just our testimony, how we came to God, right? So mine started off so I got baptized and I was in middle school. I was 8th grade, I got baptized. So I'd always kind of be in and out of church. And then I was raised Catholic. I made my confirmation, communion, did all that. And then come to junior high, my brother was going to a church that believed in, oneness church, and I got baptized there. And then after, I always had a kind of like a deviant lifestyle, so I was always messing around with doing something. So whenever I get in trouble, I would try to live straight. So when I got in trouble when I was in junior high, I would try to go to church, get straight. And then in high school, I started partying a lot, pretty crazy. And then finally, by the time I turned 17, my mom had enough, and she kicked me out. That's when I actually went to the Rock Church. I was on probation, so I went over there and I did my probation. It was for a year. That's when I got the Holy Ghost. And then after I was off probation, I'm like, I'm free again. So I came back to San Jose. And then that's when I kind of took off on like a long career of my addiction and using drugs, alcohol, and all that stuff. And that wouldn't end till I was 36. So from about 17 to 36, I had those just
36.
Almost 20 years of just doing crazy stuff, and it didn't all start off as bad, but it ended up. But through the whole time, I didn't realize God had a plan. Right? Everything that I was going through was for a reason.
Exactly.
But through a lot of that, I was really bitter at God and like, man, like my life's a wreck. I'm addicted to drugs. I'm like, if there was really a God, why would he let me be addicted? Like, what was, I had a lot of questions and stuff. And I'm like, man, I never believed somebody could be living in Wales. Like, I started, like, trying to dissect, like, why God wasn't real. Especially because Rachel had such a strong, she had gone back to church. Now I'm already fast forwarded. We got married. Rachel started going to church right away. She's like, I'm going to raise me and my son in church. And when we got married, I'm like, yeah, I agree with that. But I wanted to, but I was like, I'm an addict. I don't fit in the church. Like, I'm not going to be going to the church high. I would go a lot of the times high. Get high at the church. No.
Trust me, I and my family.
And then I finally was like, man, it's just not for me. Like, it's good for you. I would help her get the kids ready. We had Preston, and then things got kind of bad between us. And then we had Mila. I'm like, all right, I can get sober for Mila. Mila came and left, and I wasn't sober.
And then he was out again.
So it was always a kind of in and out relationship. You want to fill in anything there? I'm going kind of quick.
So rewind back to when we got together. He was like, "Oh, I've been wanting to go back to church," and I was like, "That's great.
Yeah,
like so
great.
have I. Like, I just haven't made the commitment and decided, I'm going to go back." So we partied a little bit more. We had a very quick relationship, very quick engagement, very quick, to get married. We got pregnant with Preston, as he's our first son, and that was within 3 months of us being married that we got pregnant. And we were just like, oh, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. But it happened very quickly, and we were like, oh, okay. Like, so we didn't really have that time to figure each other out and figure out how we are as a married couple, because things do change when you get married.
Well, and plus too, when we were dating, it was just all fun again. I had a ton of money. I was making a lot of money.
Not legally.
So we literally did whatever we wanted. So it was just, it wasn't like, it was like
there was no responsibility.
No responsibility to do whatever we want, whenever we wanted to. And it was just, so we're like, oh yeah, this is fun. We're always having fun together. Let's get married.
And then the responsibility comes.
And then responsibility comes, and I tried to start making an honest living.
Yeah.
And then
But
the money went.
he freaked out. Like
Yeah.
once we got married and then we got pregnant right away, then the baby came and I got really sick and it was almost like he was in shock.
Yeah.
Like he didn't know how to handle those things. Based on his upbringing, his dad was not super present to show what a father is, how a husband is, and what he was showing was not a great example of those qualities. And so, I was a little naive, and I didn't really know that there was a problem outside of weed.
Yeah.
And then once I
Is this
did
a
find,
PG podcast?
Yeah, it's
or
fine.
this
I mean,
is
Ava
adult?
shared hers. And
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It was
once
intense.
Yeah, it was intense.
once I found out that he was an addict, it just opened a door of chaos.
Yeah.
And I felt a little bit blindsided, but I found out he was using pills, and then he was using meth, and then he was drinking a lot. He was doing other substances, and I was just like, oh my gosh, like how am I going to parent? Number one, how am I going to be in church, like, and my husband is an addict and alcoholic? Like how, like, and I felt like I had to keep a secret. Like I was keeping a secret for him.
Was it like shame? Like if people found out? Like what?
I just didn't want anybody to look at him in a negative light. You know, I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. You know, recovery, addiction, counseling.
Yeah.
It's not widely talked about in the church.
Yeah, it's not.
And it needs to be, because it's really important. And everybody, every single person will come into contact with somebody who has an addict for a family member,
Everyone has an Uncle
a
Dan.
loved one, or
An Uncle so-and-so, right?
Yeah.
or
An
you know,
aunt
like
so-and-so, like
Yeah.
everybody. Or
sometimes,
their parents. Like,
yeah.
it's just that
Sometimes
close to
people
everybody.
are, you know, they have mental health struggles,
Yeah.
and they need counseling, they need therapy.
And I think a lot of times nowadays it's like, oh, if you have that, like, oh, like you're an
got a disease.
outcast.
Yeah,
you're
like,
out. Like,
oh, like,
and
we
it
can't
shouldn't.
really,
We
like-
should be the ones being there and being the crutch for them, because
Right.
we have the truth. We
Right.
know what we're talking about. We know how God is the only way that you can get to being sober and being saved. And so I think a lot of times people forget that, and they think, oh, well, they can just go do it by themselves over there. Well, if they're always by themselves, they're overthinking, first of all, of everything that they're trying to do. They're stressing out. They're like, man, well, these people are going to hate me if they know. So it's better to keep it and try to deal with it.
Yeah.
And that was 100% what you said. Is like,
Yeah.
I'm like, before I can come into church, I need to get everything straightened out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
And
thought he had to get right
exactly.
before he
And
came to the
people
church.
don't
What do you need church
realize
for?
that the church is there to straighten you out. And so a lot of people are like, even my family members will be like, oh, well, I can't go to church. Like, I'm not living right. And they know they're not living right. But they don't understand that you need to go to church. Like my mama, she has a great testimony about how she was not living right at all, completely terrible. But when she came to church, that's when she realized, like, wait, the church is there to help me get to where I need to be.
Yeah.
It's our hospital.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so I felt like I mean, I was ashamed. I'm like, oh my God, people are going to think I'm an absolute idiot for marrying this guy.
Yeah.
And I should have done more research and like got to know him better. And now I brought a kid into this situation. Like, what am I doing? And I felt like I had to hide his addiction to protect him.
Yeah.
And his
And
character.
probably protect the kids.
I mean, Preston was a newborn, so I didn't, at that point, I wasn't thinking about how it would affect him.
Yeah.
Because I thought, like, for me, I stopped drinking, you know, and I was like, I have a kid, I have responsibility, like, I can't do this, like, I have to...
Pregnancy helps, right? I mean, if you're a
It
responsible
does.
woman,
Yeah.
you're gonna,
Yeah,
you get 9
exactly.
months to get right
Yeah.
out.
Right. So I felt like I needed to protect him, and but I also didn't do it out of love.
Yeah.
I was very angry, and I lashed out at him, and I said a lot of mean things because I was trying to hurt him as much as it hurt me to find that out. And to I'm like, this is going to be like my life. Like, I'm not getting rid of him. Like, once you have a kid, I don't care if they turn 18. You're still involved with the person you had that child with. And so I was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm stuck. Yeah. And so we went round and round. I kicked him out. I let him come back. And, and he remained to be a very loving person. He just had a lot of inner struggles that I felt I could not help him with. Yeah. Other than to pray for him. And so I had to get to the point where I was like, all right, God, you're going to have to take control because I can't help him. I'm trying to raise, at that point, 2 kids. And I'm trying to raise them completely opposite from how he's living. So I need you to step in for him because, it got to the point where I thought, I'm going to wake up and he's not going to be breathing. Yeah. Or he's going to go to prison. Or someone's going to harm him. And there's nothing that I can do about it. And once I came to that realization that there is absolutely nothing else that in my power that I can do, I was like, it was almost like a weight lifted. As I was still fearful in the back of my mind, just thinking of the things that could happen. Yeah. But once I realized, like, I just needed to trust God. And because, I loved him, and I truly feel like I would do anything for him. Yeah. But at that point, I was like, there's nothing more I can do for him except to try and love him, even though I was still very angry. I was like, the only thing I do is pray. Yeah. And it was 9 years. 9 years from the time
during the 9 years, I tried going to rehab. I tried just different stuff, but I never was trusting God in any of it. So I tried to do everything on my own. I would just it just never worked out. So I'm like, man, you know what? I just got to carry this addiction with me for the rest of my life. So I had come to the terms where it's like, I just got to figure this out, and hopefully, it was just something I was like, I just got to carry. I messed up. I went down this road, and now I got to live with my consequences. So in my head, I'm in my own thinking like I'm addicted for the rest of my life, because I've seen all my uncles before me and both sides of my family. Nobody gets sober; they die. That's literally what happens. That's the only example. So I'm like, man, my only option is, I never cared about getting arrested or anything happening, me getting hurt, overdosing. I was just that far gone. I'm like, that'll never be me. That's everyone else. That's total denial, right? Total
definitely
total denial of that. But mine was the end of this equals death. Yeah. So then fast forward through all that, Rachel's taking Preston and me to the church. They're going to the first church. And then I'm like, man, we were living deep, 5 deep in a shoebox.
Yeah,
it was
super
small.
tiny house.
So I'm like, we need to get a house. This just isn't working. And I'm thinking in my head, okay, if I get a bigger space that I can kind of suffer, I don't know, I could dry out somewhere in the corner, whatever it is. So we tried. We are literally putting in offers from houses from Gilroy all the way to Fremont, which is a big part of South Bay, and then San Jose and all that. Just getting turned down. Yeah. I mean, we were just it just wasn't working. So we
were working from home, which was it was during the pandemic. It was
during the
worst
pandemic.
Time ever.
So I'm like, we need a bigger house. Yeah. So and then we started looking at Elk Grove, because I told Rachel, you can go to the Rock, right? Yeah. It's similar church. Yeah. You can do that. So
he had it all mapped out. Yeah. Because I was like, I'm absolutely not leaving my church. I'm not going to move away from my people. You're trying to seclude me. I'm not doing that. He's like, well, there's a church like yours in Elk Grove.
And I'm like, you don't go to church for the church. You go to church for God, right? Your relationship with, and I'm like, I'm high, but I know that much. Trying to reason it. I'm like, you're living for God, not for your church. Exactly. But I still, that was our only connection she had, because she had so secluded from everyone else. And then we started looking, and then we were like, what about Roseville? Because I was just looking to see where they were building at. And then we came out here, we visited them. I came out here once and I seen this home and I'm like,
Yeah.
that's it. Like,
That's so funny because Roseville is like a tiny, like
we have no business out here, right?
Yeah.
But God had a bigger plan.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, we have no connections to nobody. I mean,
Yeah.
now we have a family of
Yeah.
extended family that goes beyond we ever believe. But
Yeah.
we had no business being out here. We seen the model home. I'm like, if we can get in that house,
Yeah.
like, I'm done. And she would come back and looking at other places and all that. And I'm like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's just, and then her pastor told her to go check out the Roseville Church. I think we go on an Easter
I
Sunday?
think we did.
I remember the first time you guys came.
We
to
came on an
it was an
Easter
Easter.
Sunday.
Yeah.
We came on an Easter Sunday, and we like fell in love with Pastor Pizarro in the church. We
Yeah.
felt like, oh, this is home. It was a lot smaller for Rachel.
It was
A lot smaller, but it was like it just felt right.
And even then, we were like,
Half
now
of it
we
was
have
in-
way more. But
Yeah.
like back then,
I think
remember,
there was probably like 40 or 50
and I
people.
think now that I'm thinking about it, I think that's when we first moved into that building. It was like the first
Yeah.
year we were in that building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we were like going from like a tiny church to a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that we checked it out, and Rachel's like, I can do this. This
Yeah.
is cool. She fell in love with Pastor in the church.
Yeah.
And he just came along for the ride.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was. I was happy that she wasn't gonna have to travel. But
Yeah.
But then fast forward
2 weeks.
2 weeks, and Rachel was praying. She didn't want to move. She was praying
Yeah.
we didn't get the house.
Oh.
We had to go through a second qualification. They called, said, "Hey, you guys are qualified. We're starting to build your house. We'll go pick out whatever." Right. So how
Yeah,
that
yeah.
whole process works. And then our house is ready. We move in. Rachel starts going to church. I don't know if I was going with you or not.
No, you came that initial time I checked it out, which was like a month prior to us moving. And
It
then,
was April. We moved in May.
yeah, and then we moved beginning of May. And then 2 weeks later, it was our anniversary, close to our anniversary, and he invited me out to dinner. And I was like, by this point, I was a little bit fed up.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, he's just trying to get in my good graces for a week or two.
That's
you
how
know.
it always worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
I
be-
wouldn't get caught with something, and we'd be
Yeah.
fine for a few months. Then she would catch me, and I would lie.
Yeah.
And just a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
It was a very vicious cycle. And so he's like, oh, let's go to dinner. I'm like, oh, I don't have anybody to watch my kids because you moved me all the way out here to Roseville. And he's like, well, I asked your mom and she said she'll watch your kids. And I'm like,
Oh.
so I'm like, all right, we'll go to dinner. So we sat there and it was a very quiet dinner. We didn't really talk much. And he's like, oh, so how do you like your church? And I'm like, oh, I like my church.
Yeah.
I like it, it's different.
Yeah.
Because I came from
Yeah,
a church of like 400
yeah,
people and now
exactly.
there's like 40 or 50
Yeah.
people. I said, but I like it. I feel
Yeah.
the presence of God. I feel welcome. And then he's like, oh, okay. And at the time, I hadn't heard about Saved and Sober being mentioned.
Yeah.
And I didn't even think about it for him
Yeah.
because I was like, there's absolutely no,
No
way
way he's gonna-
I
yeah.
can't force him. And I already made him do a recovery program or a rehab program, outpatient back when we lived in the Bay Area. I'm like, and that was non-successful.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not going to try and like force him again.
Yeah.
So, but I have a friend and she has a brother who is struggling. And so I thought, at the time he was living in Sacramento. So I was like, I could probably like check out this program and see if maybe he'll go with me. So I told him, I'm like, oh, I heard there's a recovery program at my church. Like, I'm going to go check it out. And he's like, oh, that's cool. I'll go with you. And I was like, and I'm thinking, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
let your wife go to a bunch of addicts and alcoholics.
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, I'll go with you. And I'm like, yeah, sure you will. So we went through the next day and we were working and then he like comes up, he's like, are you ready to go? I'm like, go where?
Yeah.
And he's like, to your church thing, the recovery program. I'm like, oh, well, yeah.
You want to go?
I'm like, I'm leaving in
Yeah.
10 minutes. Like,
Yeah.
so we drove there and we really,
I think it was Brother Daniel speaking. First time I went.
was it
He was
him?
giving his testimony.
Was it Anthony?
No, it was Daniel first.
Yeah, I think it was. Now that I'm thinking about it, like the very first Saved and Sober, Daniel did the first-ish, because we didn't have Saved and Sober. It's only like 4 years or 5 years. 5 years.
Yeah.
5 years,
It was Brother Daniel giving his testimony. And I just remember being like, man, there's other people out there that are like me, that are crazy, that are honest. And I really connected with his testimony. But we were a little different, just a little different in like his testimony was different than mine, but it was relatable. Like now looking back at it, you look at the similarities, not the differences.
Yep.
So I was like, man, I'm really touched by this, and it's like.
And
I've
I
never
looked
seen
over
anything.
and he was like crying, and I was like, oh my God.
I think that's the difference between people who want to be sober and who don't. Because
Yeah.
when they look at the differences, they're like, oh, well, they don't know this, they don't know this. They just make excuses. But people who do want to be, they're like, oh, well, look, like, there's a chance. Like,
Yeah, there's
they
a
try to
chance.
find hope,
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, so I was touched. And then afterwards, Brother Jake came up and gave me the Jake, like, how you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you here?
Yeah, that's the thing
What are
he
you
does.
using?
Yeah.
And that was the first time I was ever honest with somebody.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, I'm addicted to meth, and I'm just, you know, blah, blah, blah. And it just, he's like, oh, you're fine, man. Like, this is just
He's a
keep
good
coming
person
back.
to talk to, definitely, to get it out of
And
you.
we just kind of went through that. And then I think the next week I heard Brother Anthony's testimony. And that was more relatable because I was an addict and an alcoholic, but we had this house already.
Yeah.
I'm like, well, if I'm not doing that bad.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I was always, it was my ego, right? It was like reasoning with what I had to make me feel okay. But then hearing his story, I was like, whoa, like, that's me. Like you think you have it all figured out, but you have nothing figured out. And you're losing your family and life's crazy. And, you know, like you're just stumbling in the right direction. You're just prolonging death.
Yeah, exactly.
So then that was it. I think I tried to get sober, just cold turkey. Rachel helped me with some home remedies and stuff like that. And then that kind of led, I'm like, that was my problem, right? So I was like, all right, so I'm not going to do meth anymore, but I'm just going to drink and smoke. And then she was like, well, I guess she'll take that, right? You know, like-
Yeah, I was like, well, anything's better
Then I'm
than...
doing all of it.
And then so for the
That.
first time in our relationship, I was smoking in this, like I was drinking every time we went out to restaurants, and then I finally found myself. I racked up how much, like $5-6 grand on her credit card.
Yeah.
5 cents she didn't know about getting it delivered to the house or to the corner because I would walk to the street. So she kind of knew, she didn't know how much I was spending, but she knew I was using, and it was open, and I'm like, whoa, like this is different. Like for the first time, she knows everything about me. There's no secrets. And then I keep going to the program, going to church, and I'm still using. And then we went to Mexico.
Yeah.
And like for the 2 weeks there, I'm like, I could not be sober for a second. Like I'm not smoking meth anymore, but I can't be like I'm an addict.
Yeah.
Like, I got to have something.
Yeah.
Somebody got to be smoking something, drinking something, doing something. And it hit me. I'm like, man, I don't want to become an alcoholic. I was just more afraid of becoming an alcoholic, which I ended up becoming because it's so available. Yeah. Like at least out here, I wasn't going to go random people. I would always drive back to San Jose to go do what I had to do and come back. Yeah. But here, I'm like, man, I can just go look at, like, this is super scary. Found myself drinking our cooking wine.
Yeah.
Like I got dark. And then I think I finally relapsed, right? From meth.
Yeah.
And it was like, and then I was kind of going the program. I was like, man, I don't have to do meth anymore. I was super happy. Then I relapsed on that. I had stopped drinking after Mexico, though. When we got back from Mexico, I think you were done. You were like, you know, this is
I was
accepted. You're
mad because we were in Mexico and it was just us, and we had not ever taken a vacation
Of
just me and him, and I was miserable. I was like,
You're just
I'm all the way
drinking
out here,
yeah.
and I'm just like, you're just drunk and high. Like he was smoking weed, and I was like, at this point, I'm like, you're replacing a problem with a problem.
Yeah.
And so when we got back home, I was like, you know, like, this is kind of crazy. He had stopped drinking when we came back home and then stopped smoking. And then he decided, well, a week later, I found out I was pregnant with our third baby.
That's what it was too, yeah.
And he was like, oh man, like, I probably am drinking too much.
Yeah.
I probably should just stop. Cause like, what's the difference if I'm drunk or if I'm high?
Exactly.
Like I'm still
addicted to it.
Addicted, yeah. And so I think he came to that realization probably in July.
That was July 21st.
And there's also like a lot of like past trauma with his upbringing and whatnot that like he was dealing with still. And so I think he was just trying to. He didn't know how to cope
Yeah.
with feelings, with things that have happened while he was in his addiction. So he was reaching for something to kind of like
Hold on
not
to it, yeah, like,
feel those feelings. And
But it's also different when you're doing something and someone tells you you can't. When
Yeah.
then someone says, oh, go, do whatever you want to do it.
yeah.
yeah,
And so she accepted me for whatever, and I'm like,
And you're like, oh, okay.
no, I'm not supposed to be doing this. Like, who's
Yeah.
going to tell me no? Like,
Yeah.
who's going to be that person where I have to hide and be sneaky?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
the cat and mouse game was over.
yeah.
She's like,
So
whatever
then,
you're going to do, like, you admitted you had a problem, you want to drink it, like, whatever it is. And then, so I got some sobriety on my own from July 21st. Then I had to run all the way to November. I think it was in November. My sobriety date's in November 12th, so it was like to November, I think, 11th. We went to San Jose and I relapsed. And I was going to deny it like I always did. And she's like, hey, what's up? Did you? I'm like, no. I'm like, yeah, I did.
and I
then
flipped out.
she
Yeah.
flipped out.
I was 5 months pregnant, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like here we are again.
Yeah.
Like, is this gonna
The circle.
Yeah,
It's
it's
just-
like it's the ugly circle, and I'm like, oh my gosh, and I started just like lashing out at him, like cutting him down because I was extremely hurt. I thought for once in our marriage, I felt peace, and then I felt like it was all ripped away in 1 second.
Yeah.
And I remember like thinking in my head like, oh, I let my guard down.
Yeah.
I trusted him too soon. Like I should have known. And then, you know, I am so thankful for God in our life, but I felt like he told me to be quiet because I turned toxic.
Yeah.
As soon as he said yes, he did, I'm like, wow, like I hate you.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I knew you would do this.
Yeah.
You're a failure, you know, and but I felt God tell me to be quiet. And I did, and I the car got quiet. And he was like,
The kids were with us.
Yeah.
Pressing me on the back.
and he's like, I'm sorry. And I'm like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
Sorry. You are very sorry.
And then we went back to Roseville. And
That
then
night.
That was a Thursday night.
Yeah.
It was a Thursday night. Friday, I was just like kind of going
Yeah.
through it. And then I remember getting back on my meeting Saturday morning. We used to have a Saturday morning meeting.
Yeah.
And I logged in and I told everyone, they're like, all right, if anyone's, you know, in the
Yeah.
first 30 days of sobriety, raise your hand. And like Jake and Anthony, I don't know if Ross wasn't around yet. Jake, Anthony, I think Daniel, Denise, just like the normal cohort were all on there, and I raised my hand and they were like, what?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I got one day. And they were like, whoa, like they were like so celebrating it.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, no one's gonna like,
Yeah.
no one's gonna kick me out
You
of the Zoom.
you expect the worst.
And then I remember going Sunday to the altar and just that whole service, I couldn't hold it together. And
Yeah.
I was just like, man, like I really want this. Like I don't want that. Like what do I got to do? And then I called Pastor after service. And Pastor's like, well, tomorrow's, you know, pick back up. It's just one day at a time. Like here we go. I'm like, wait, like I'm waiting for someone to yell at me or
and
like,
get mad, yeah.
yeah, or like reprimand me.
The
or something.
grace. You
Yeah.
didn't expect the, yeah.
And then even Anthony, that Saturday I got on the meeting, and then he brought Riley and AC over for us to watch him Saturday night.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, my own family wouldn't let me around their kids.
Yeah.
Like my brother-in-law would never let me around his kids
Yeah.
alone. Like he was like, and I'm like, this is it was still, we were just like a 7-month relationship, and this guy trusts me with his kids. Like he sees something to me I don't see.
Yeah.
You know, there's no way he would bring his kids around.
Exactly.
So I'm like, wow. So that was really impactful. And then talking to Pastor, and then after, I think it was Jake was like, all right, dude, like Monday we're back at Save and Sober. He's like, you need to do the program. Like no one gets away free.
Yeah.
And I was stubborn.
Yeah.
I thought I could get around doing the program. So after that, I did my 90 meetings in 90 days. I started doing the 12 steps with Anthony. We did our programming. I was not missing any church services, any Saved and Sober, did that. And I've been doing that since. Not 90 meetings in 90 days, but I've been doing not missing anything, going to work in a program. Now I'm sponsoring other people. I got several sponsees. And I'll have I got 3 years and 8 months.
Wow, that's good.
So God's good, and that's why like all the craziness that we went through and like whatever, it was like it was all God had a purpose, right? For us to share
It was
this,
worth it, yeah.
it was worth it. I don't know if I'd go through it again.
Yeah.
But it was worth it, and I didn't see a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
I thought I was. So God's grace and mercy, like He had a bigger plan for us, and we can't see. I think if we saw what God put, like if God told me before when I was an addict, like, hey, you're gonna be over the youth group, you're gonna have 4 or 5 sponsees, you're gonna you're gonna do this, I would have been like, no, thank you, I'm gonna stay high. You know what I mean?
The coincidence that you happen to come to Roseville and happen to go to the Rock Church North, and then they happen to have a Save and Sober that worked for you, like. It's just too big of a coincidence to say that God didn't do something. So.
Exactly. It was too. Yeah, that wasn't chance.
Yeah.
That was all God.
Yeah.
So I think that's our story in a nutshell.
Yeah.
And then just in the 3 years, like Pastor talks about, God will expedite your walk with Him if you're faithful, and I think He's truly done. I don't think I'd be in a better place than I am now, even if I never used.
Yeah.
So I think God has expedited our life. He's blessing us. He's helping us navigate our lives now, and we're just being able to it's fun.
Yeah.
Now the fun has started.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're gonna ask some questions. The first question is, what would you say to a teenager struggling to believe their life has purpose?
That's a good question. Struggling to believe that life has purpose.
That their life.
Their life.
That their life. Oh, I was like, that's
Both.
deep.
Both? We can do both if you want.
I would say that it's normal. Like if someone's struggling with something, like don't dismiss it, because we don't always rely on our feelings, right? Because if you're always going off your feelings, then you're going to be in bad shape.
Big trouble. Yeah.
You got to go off of facts, and you got to know that So you got to. I think they need to kind of evaluate their life. If they're are these people living for God? Are these teenagers are not living for God?
It could be both. So you can talk
be both. Because
yeah.
if you're living for God, it's a little easier, right?
Yeah,
faith,
definitely. You have
so you can talk
a purpose. You know your purpose because your purpose is to go and spread the gospel.
You know your purpose, and if they're not, I would try to have them seek a relationship with God, but also know that they're those are good questions to have, and then whoever their mentor is, it's good to go, whether it's their parents, whoever they feel comfortable having those conversations with, or other friends, to kind of see how they reason with that.
Yeah.
But definitely know that that it's okay to have those doubts, and like most kids do. And if they're not living the way they want to live, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to be perfect. Because I think if you shoot for perfection, you're going to miss every time. But it's okay to have those thoughts. And what would you say?
I would say, just in general, everybody's life, every moment that you are. I don't want to say, every moment that you go through, or every struggle, every trial, every happy time, that's going to eventually, as you become an adult, that will resonate with somebody. And somebody is going to be touched by your story, by your life experience. And I remember as a young person, struggling myself, what is my purpose and calling in life? I definitely didn't think it was to be an advocate for recovery. But I also remember praying, don't let everything that I've gone through be for nothing. Let everything that I've gone through and struggled with, let it be able to minister to somebody, to a young person, to an adult, to a mom who is, thinking, oh my gosh, my kid is so far out there. What's going to happen? So I remember praying, let my life be a testimony of your grace and your mercy, and let it not be for nothing. And so I think every point of our life will speak to somebody further down the line. So there is purpose in life. There is, you don't have to have a doctorate or a degree, you know, to be able to touch somebody and to have purpose.
Second question is, what are some habits or disciplines that helped you grow spiritually?
Habits are it's kind of, I took it from a secular book, but it's called there's a book called Atomic Habits, and it helps you build skills, where it's called bookends. So I have my bookends related to because first is God, right?
Yeah,
God, and
yeah.
then Rachel, and then the kids, and then everything else, right? So the first ministry is my relationship with God. So my book, like when I wake up in the morning, I read the Word and I pray. When I go to bed, I pray.
Yeah.
I probably should read the Word, but I don't.
Yeah.
But I read the Word and I pray in the morning, and then I pray at night. And then if there's something in the middle, now that I'm home, it's awesome because I can pray during midday.
Exactly,
I get a midday prayer in. But so I have those bookends. So no matter what happens during the day, I know I'm going to be able to, whether
Talk
it's
to
repent
God,
about anything, talk to God, face God, give Him His, His glory, give Him all His credit, and give Him and just make sure things are right with God. So those habits help me stay focused every day because it's like the first thing I think about and it's the last thing I think about.
I've never thought about doing that.
Yeah, so it's always, and I have the kids do that, right? When the kids wake up, they pray. And they're not going for hours or anything
Well,
like
yeah,
that, but they just
yeah.
do a quick prayer in the morning and a prayer at night, and it just keeps God
a
in the
habit,
center of
yeah.
their
Keep it
focus
a
of
habit.
their life. So those are some habits that I do, and then being consistent, right? Being consistent, like we schedule our vacations and as much as we can around church events, church, everything that we do. So we're here on our Sundays and Wednesdays for sure. And that's, we prioritize that. So I think those habits of being disciplined just make it a lifestyle.
Yeah. That's good.
I would have to agree with him. I feel like I pray more in the evening because nobody's asking me for anything. So I'm like, okay, I can like have a moment of peace before I go to sleep, and I'll pray and I thank God for my day and thank Him for getting me through the day because life's a little crazy with Braden. And then in the morning, I will read the Word. And, just throughout the day, I'm just like, I try to, give God my gratitude. Like, I'm so thankful that we can pay our bills. I'm so thankful that, like, I'm able to go to the store and buy what we need and not have to worry. Just little things. I'm like, thank you, God. Like, and I try to keep that going through the day and give Him credit for everything that He gives us and has brought us through. And I think too, like you said, scheduling our business meetings or vacation or any outings, we're like, oh, like this kind of falls close, like we probably should come back in Saturday evening so that we don't miss Sunday. And definitely we absolutely need our midweek service too. So we're like, oh, like we can't, like we just can't miss, because after a while, I think you start feeling like, oh, I'm missing too much. Like, and your spirit,
you can feel the difference.
Yeah, you could feel the difference, and then you can feel like your spirit, like, oh, like I need to be fed, and so we try not to miss as much as possible.
And then the other one I forgot is connecting with people. So that's a habit where I'm like, if I don't see people at service, I reach out to them. If it's a newcomer, I try to get their number and reach out to them. And then during the week, so connecting with people is a habit, because when you get your mind off yourself and put it on someone else, like your problems are gone.
That's true.
So that's another habit.
Okay. So the next question is, what's something you do now to protect your relationship with God?
I think healthy boundaries. It has not always been easy. But I feel like for a long while when I came back to the Lord, I was just like, oh, like, I'm still going to go to church regardless. But I didn't have people testing me as much as I have them testing me and us and our home and our walk as much as it is now. And so now I'm just like, I've had to say, like, this is our safe place. This is our peace. And I'm not going to allow anybody to disturb that.
Yeah.
We've worked extremely hard and for many years to get to this point, and it's so important that we protect it for ourselves and for our kids, for our home. And I feel like I struggled a long time with it because when you really sell out, you lose people along the way. And I know people are always like, oh, your friends forever, your family forever. Yeah. But sometimes you're not. And sometimes you outgrow people and relationships and you love them. You never stop loving them. You just, you realize that they're not aligning with your values and your morals anymore. And some have turned and like attacked those things. And so now I'm like, I love you, but I'm going to have to love you from a distance. And it's been like a really hard thing emotionally for both of us to like put those in place, because these are people that like
love. Real quick. What's going on, babe?
I'm talking about healthy boundaries. We never thought like we'd have to get to this place. But you know, I have to protect my spirit and my feelings, and I feel like I'm still in protect mode of his sobriety and our kids' well-being. And so I've that's what I do. I'm like, hey, like things aren't measuring up. So I have to put some boundaries in place. Like we don't talk like this. We don't go to these places. Like you're not bringing that to my house. Exactly. And it's not always accepted, but I have to do what I feel is right for.
And especially nowadays, it's so hard because people are like, oh, well, if you really loved me, you would accept me
for who I am.
And it's like, okay, well, I'm not telling you can't. I'm telling you don't bring it into my life, because that is chaos and that is not
and
good.
It's triggering.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like when we're around people who are drinking and having a good time, I'm like, oh man, like I love to have a drink too, you know, but that's not what's good for me, right? Exactly. And that's not what God delivered. I mean, that's what God delivered me from. So exactly. It's like, why go back? It's like a dog going back.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I did not put boundaries in place, you know, I feel like my faith and my spiritual well-being is
more important than,
it's more important, but I feel like it's compromised if I don't. Yeah. And so, you know, my main priority is being in alignment with God, and so that's what I do to protect that.
What was the question again?
What's something you do to protect your relationship with God? Okay. We'll do now,
Yeah, so for me, a lot similar to what Rachel said, but we're the bride of Jesus, and just kind of like when I'm Rachel's husband. Yeah. So if I'm ever, they say you bring it up early and often, like I'm married, right? Like if you're talking to somebody else, like you're married. Yeah. So for me, a big part of my salvation is through sobriety. So like if I'm going to like a business event, or I'm going to a dinner, or I bring up my sobriety super quick. So I'm like, hey, I'm sober, by the way.
Yeah. Just letting you know I'm not going to.
And that opens the doors to like, I'm saved and sober, and I don't, I have a faith, and that goes on to some really good conversations with people. So not only is it a testimony about love to like to do to witness to people, but it's also my protection zone. And then for the first time ever, I'm sold out, like Rachel said. So my family knows I go to church. My family knows I'm youth pastor. My family knows I'm all in, and that we have non-negotiables to where now family parties are scheduled not on Sundays. If they want us to be there, it's not going to be on a Sunday. And if it is, we're not going to show up. And it's nothing personal. It's just that my relationship with God comes first. So we put these boundaries in place. But for me, that's just bringing up my sobriety, which leads into salvation early and often in all my conversations with a lot of people, to where like I'll have business contacts and I talk, hey, are you still sober? I'm like,
Yeah.
but I don't, that makes that conversation a lot easier.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm not tempted as much, right? And if I want to be tempted, I'm like, hey, these people already know you're sober.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, this guy's off the rails if he's
Yeah.
drinking, right? Or he does something
Yeah.
like he's doing something like off. So everybody from my closest friends, cousins, family, everybody knows I'm sober. Everybody knows I go to church, and it's just that much easier. So I don't have to fake the funk.
Yeah.
I don't have to pretend. Do I get poked at? Do I get challenged? Do I get questioned? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And then on that, I just rely on my testimony. So that might not be the most studied in the Bible. I mean, I'm getting there.
Yeah.
I'm trying to, but like, no one can take away my testimony.
That's crazy that you said that, because literally, we were just talking about that, and like all the rest of them, like your testimony is so powerful. Like people may try to come and give you like, oh, all your doctrine and all that, but when you tell them what God has done, what are they gonna do? Like you'd be like, no, He didn't. Like I'm standing right here. Like
Yeah, just like you mentioned about the gas.
Yeah,
right? Like
exactly.
you can't shake
You
me
can't
because
deny
of what
that.
God's done in my life. But
Exactly.
He might not have done it for you, or you might not have seeked it, but like you cannot tell me anything different.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people forget that how powerful their testimony is. They just think like, oh, well, if I don't know like every scripture in the Bible, if I don't know it all memorized, like then I can't tell anybody about God. But if you even just, you don't even have to be witnessing. You can just have a conversation with them, be like, hey, like this is what God has done. Like this is the miracles I've seen, and like they may not believe you at first, but when they see how you are, then that's when they realize like, wow, like there's something different, and I want that.
Yeah.
So that's important. All right. Thank you for being on my podcast. I really appreciate it. I love you guys, and
Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Until next time.
yeah.